welcome back to my channel. So today is Temperature Blanket Tuesday. I'm so excited to show you my progress over the last week with my temperature blanket, and it is turning out absolutely beautifully. Just a really quick recap for those who haven't seen my other updates, which I will post a playlist in the description of all my videos concerning this year's temperature blanket. This is my first temperature blanket, so super excited about that. I'm doing the moss stitch, and I chose to go pretty different than traditional and use variegated yarn, so it is turning out so colorful and so beautiful. It reminds me of stained glass. But I started with about 190 chains, and I could have went a little bit wider, but it's gonna be all right. Here is my temperature chart, and I will also put a chart that I made showing all the colors. I'll put it right here so you can see that real quick, but there is an in-depth video in that playlist showing you the haul for my temperature blanket, and I go in-depth as to why I chose each color. So definitely check that out if you're interested in seeing each color more closely. So I am using the website Wonderground, and what I do is I go on and click my local area, and then I go to calendar, and it shows all the actual highs and lows and also the forecasted highs and lows. And I work on my temperature blanket the following day. So instead of working on that day, I choose to wait until the next day, because then you have that actual temperature and it's not forecasted, if that makes sense. I want to be as accurate as possible just because I want to. But I've actually been letting a few days pass lately and then doing a few rows at a time. I've really enjoyed doing that because I am working on some other big projects. So I'll just work on the temperature blanket a couple, 2 to 3 times a week, do a few rows at a time, and it's been going great for me. So what I do is I write down the daily temperature that, like I said, the following day I will look back and write down that temperature, and then whenever I do that row, I will check it off. And so today we're going to be covering Tuesday, January 10th through Monday, January the 16th. So I'm really excited to show you what it's looking like. I put a stitch marker in where I stopped last week, so it'll be easy for me to see where I'm at. So here's what it's looking like so far. I love this so much. I know that it is very non-traditional for a temperature blanket, but I love colors so much, and that is what keeps me invested. So I'm totally cool with that. I know that for temperature blankets, you know, you want to see by the colors you chose the variation in the temperature. So with variegated yarn, obviously it's a little bit harder to see that, but I'm very intrigued to see how it's going to end up at the end of the year, because I am going to have, you know, like I've had a lot of certain colors, like the spring green. I've used that the most out of any color, and I would assume that later on this summer, like in June and July, I will not be using this anymore because it is from 51 to 60 degrees. And so I know that I'm using a lot of this one now, and later on I won't be using this one at all. So there will still be that variation within the blanket, and I think that when it's done, you will be able to see clearly the variations in temperature. I hope that that makes sense, even though it's a variegated yarn. So anyway, it is so beautiful. I'm so loving this. Like, it reminds me, as I said, of like stained glass, or I don't know, just beautiful. So here's where I left off. That little red row there is my last one from the last update. So we are going to start like I said, with Tuesday the 10th. So that day the high was 55 degrees, and I did want to mention some people do highs, some people do lows, some people do average. You can really do whatever you want. I'm doing the highs. So Tuesday the 10th was 55 degrees, so that again was the spring green. I'm just going to go ahead and read all the temperatures off, and then I will show you, you know, each row in the blanket. So then Wednesday the 11th was 62 degrees, and so that was the color Sunset, which was 61 to 70 degrees. And I'm using all the I Love This yarn from Hobby Lobby. And then Thursday the 12th was 62 degrees, so again with that same sunset color. And then Friday the 13th was 40 degrees, and so we got to use the color Lakefront for the first time, so that was exciting. And then Saturday the 14th was 39 degrees, and again the color Lakefront. And then Sunday the 15th was 47, so we used the color Cinnamon Cedar, which was 41 to 50 degrees. And then yesterday, which was Monday the 16th, was 56 degrees, and so we went back to that spring green, 51 to 60 degrees. My 4-year-old's sticking his hand under the door trying to get my attention, so I'll be right back. Okay, so here is that first row. So you can see that last row was the reddish color, and so right above that, that green row, that is the spring green. That was from Tuesday the 10th. So the next 2 days were 62 degrees for the high, so that is the color Sunset, which is this color right here. It's a beautiful mix of oranges, purples, turquoise, white. There's so many different colors in here, and I love this color. I think it's my favorite. And that is for the temperature range 61 through 70, so the high was 62 for each of those days. And you can see here these rows that have the teal color, and then as you go along you can see some of that purple and pink, so it adds a lot of brightness to the blanket, more of that purple. So really beautiful. I really love that color so much, and it just, like I said, adds a brightness to it. And then the next day we got to use a new color, so that was Friday the 13th. It was 40 degrees, and that is the color Lakefront, so 31 to 40 degrees, and this is what this one looks like. Now this one is a little bit different, and I really didn't think about it much until after I used it, but all the other colors are more of that classic variegated, and this is a little bit more of a striping yarn. So but at first when I started using it, I was like, I don't know if I like this, maybe I should switch it out for a different color. But as I did a couple rows, because we did do 2 rows of that, the color or the range is 31 to 40 degrees. And so for Friday it was 40, for Saturday was 39. So I got to use that for 2 rows. And so I did really like that. So you can see this solid dark blue here, sort of a teal blue all through here. And then it switches over to the orangey color, orangey brown color that's in there, that one right there. So you can see that as it works through right here. You can see the blue and orange stacked on top of each other, so that is the 2 Lakefront rows. So really like that. And then the next day was 47, and so that was Cinnamon Cedar, and Cinnamon Cedar is 41 to 50 degrees, and this is this beautiful fall looking color here. So really pretty, lots of greens, reds, oranges. So that is the second to last row here, so with this orange and then more of that like burgundy red color. So really pretty. And then the last day that I've done so far was yesterday. Again, it was 56 degrees. So the color Spring Green again, which was this one with all those greens and blues. And so that was the last row that I did. And so you can see the teal turquoise color moving into that bright green. So overall, very, very beautiful. I'm really happy with the way it's turning out. And as I said, I cannot wait to see as the year goes on how it changes, because, you know, as we get warmer, I have more of these, you know, bright corally colors, and we've got some, like here's another one for some of those warmer temperatures, as well as this one we haven't used yet. And then we also haven't used these two, which are for super cold weather, which we normally have right now. I mean, Kentucky doesn't get crazy cold that often, but in January, I would say that we average normally in like the 30s or 20s around this time of year. So I'm kind of surprised we haven't used these. Now, right before I started this blanket in December, we had some horrifically cold weather, but as soon as it hit January, it warmed up really quick. So anyways, I cannot wait to see how this blanket progresses through the year. It's been so much fun to work on. I love the moss stitch. I think it's very beautiful. It can be hard to see each row. I was struggling a little bit seeing each row as I was trying to explain them to you, just because the way that the moss stitch works, it's kind of, each row is a little bit offset to each other, if that makes sense. So, but it's gonna make a gorgeous blanket. I love that it's a really tight fabric. It's gonna be a really nice blanket once it's done, and I just cannot wait to see what it's going to look like. And so having all this variation in color is really keeping me invested, and I think it will continue on throughout the year. So I want to thank you guys for joining me on this temperature blanket journey. I hope that you guys are having a blast with yours. I love hearing the variations of temperature blankets that you guys are working on. It seems like everybody is doing something a little bit different, and I love that so much. And I know some of you have chosen to do similar colors as I am, and I love that. Again, I want to mention that at the end of the year, and maybe at the 6-month mark, I'll have to think it through a little bit, but at the 6-month mark and the 12-month mark, it would be great to have you guys send me a picture of your temperature blanket, and I can put together a little video showing everybody's blanket. So that is super exciting, but I really hope that you enjoyed seeing what mine's looking like so far. And again, I cannot wait to chat with you in the comments. Let me know how it's going for you and what you think of how mine's turning out so far. I know it's kind of crazy, but I love it. So so for the verse I want to share with you guys today, it is out of Psalm 25, and me and my husband have decided that we want to start memorizing this passage of scripture with our children, you know, taking it one verse at a time. But today I wanted to read Psalm 25 verses 4-5, and it says, "Make me to know your ways, O Lord. Teach me your paths. Lead me in your truth and teach me, for you are the God of my salvation. For you I wait all the day long." And I love that so much, because we all need guidance from God. You know, we don't know our future. Sometimes we don't even know what's right for us in the moment. And we have all these feelings and emotions that constantly change. And we need that steadiness and knowledge and wisdom of God to lead us. And I think it's so important to remain teachable and to never get to the place where you feel like you know it all or you have it all figured out, because there's still so much to learn in life. And I think we will be learning and growing until the day we go to be with the Lord. So I just think this is a great reminder and a great prayer to ask the Lord to show us the way in which He would have us to go, and to remember that He is our God. He is the one who saves us, and it's for Him that we live, and it's for Him that we want to honor. And I just think it's so important to make sure that we're always asking the Lord to lead us. So my 4-year-old has his RC car out, and he's ramming the door with it now, so I guess it's time to go. So I really pray that you guys have a great day. I cannot wait to chat with you in the comments. I pray that God blesses you, and I will see you guys in the next one. Bye.